Hey everyone, been a while, as usual for my channel. It's just, it's halfway into the new year now, and still not much to show for it. I hope things are going better for some of you all. I know some of you may still be dealing with the fallout from everything that started last year. I'm just kinda dealing with the same things I've been dealing with. I talked before about my mom's health, and that hasn't gotten as much better as I would have hoped. It's actually gotten concerningly close to the need for rehospitalization, actually, but we might still be able to avoid that. She's on some good antibiotics, and I've been providing some care for her legs, as instructed, so there's been some improvement in the last week, just hoping for the best on that one. That's not the only thing that's gone on this year, but maybe the only one I feel comfortable actually talking about. It's the only one that's consistently taken a lot of my time and energy anyway, so I don't really feel any closer to getting any of my video projects done, but I do have one new thing in place. I found a patch for the Super Nintendo version of Final Fantasy V that just ports in the GBA localization, so that seems probably a lot better than using the fan translation, which certainly has its issues. So, I can get the GBA script and still get the Super Nintendo sound and display, which, speaking of the display, I've grown quite fond of Blarg's RGB NTSC. It's like a scanline filter. A lot of scanline filters I've seen I can't stand, but this one actually looks really nice to me. And it also has the benefit of restoring the intended color, because the color's displayed pretty differently on a CRT TV, and at least some developers definitely picked their colors with that in mind. I'll demonstrate the difference visually for you now if you'll look at the video rather than just listen. Though, actually, a really good example is not FF5, but Mega Man X. You know how, if you look closely enough, you can still see the stage even when the lights are out in Spark Mandrill stage? At least on most modern displays. Did you know you're not supposed to be able to see that? I certainly couldn't see it as a kid playing on my family's Super Nintendo. Well, with Blarg's filter, I can't see it anymore either, so that definitely seems more accurate. If you're having trouble seeing it, I could ask you to turn up the brightness on your monitor, but I'll just do you a favor and overexpose the image. As you can see, the stage is now very visible, but if I apply that exact same edit to the screenshot when I had been using the filter, all we get is a cool glow-in-the-dark X, and we still can't see the stage at all, so, yeah, at least until the lights come back on. So yeah, I'll definitely be using this filter going forward when I'm playing Super Nintendo games, so between that and the newer FF5 patch that just ports in the GBA localization, I think I'll start the LP of FF5 over, rather than resume where I left off, assuming I can actually get back to it and finish recording it. Of course, I had a couple other games I wanted to finish first, and even before that, I haven't found time for my own personal stuff lately, not much time anyway, but I have spent some time as a guest commentator in some Friends stuff, as you may recall from some earlier video, as long ago as that was. One of those endeavors, though, with my friends, had some technical problems. The videos can't really go up as is. I mean, they could go up as is, but they shouldn't. I promised I'd fix it, and oh god, I looked at the file creation date, it's been close to 3 years since that was recorded. I felt like it was some amount over just 1 year, and that was bad enough. Needless to say, I don't feel comfortable delaying that any further just to work on my own stuff, so that needs to take priority next. But I've barely found time to play even just games for fun lately, let alone work on this stuff. The only major game I can think of that I played this whole year so far, was Persona 2 Innocent Sin. Still need to play Eternal Punishment, but that's firmly on the back burner for now. Man, what a great game Innocent Sin was, though. That's a subject for another time, perhaps, but other than that one, just some odds and ends here and there, the occasional thing, but never anything that I spent much time on. I played a ROM hack of Mega Man X3, but that just, took an afternoon to play through. More than anything, probably, other than Persona 2, it's probably just been the bits of me keeping up with the 2 mobile games I play. I wish the Dissidia Final Fantasy mobile game wasn't a gacha game, because if it wasn't, I could wholeheartedly recommend it. It's really good for being that kind of game. Best one I've personally seen. But it is that kind of game, and that definitely introduces some problems, even if it's a pretty good one. And especially if you happen to have gambling addiction or anything like that, so yeah. The other mobile game I play, well, played. That actually brings me to the other topic of note. It's kind of the end of an era for me right now. I was a big-time player of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, even back before when it was known as Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key. Somewhat high-ranking, even later on in the game's life. Well, that game shut down, though, less than a week ago. I've known since February that it would be shutting down. It exists offline now. It's just as a theater mode only, with all the gameplay gutted out, so... Despite its many problems, I have to admit, that game meant something to me. It's weird going on my home screen and seeing that app icon just sitting there and never logging into it now because there's not actually anything to log into. Maybe this was a good time for me to be able to move on from it, honestly, but in some ways I am kinda gonna miss it despite everything. It came into my life at the exact time when I probably needed it the most, and was one of the several things that helped see me through those times. I can't say I owe my life to it or anything, but it did make getting through some of that time just that little bit easier. I did grow up with Disney movies as a kid, so there is a certain novelty to just running around solving problems in these Disney worlds with a literal self-insert OC instead of just a metaphorical self-insert character like Sora. And when the story started getting good, tackling stuff important to the overall Kingdom Hearts series, and disconnected from all that Disney stuff, I have to say it got surprisingly good at points. Really kind of a shame that a plot like that was locked to a game like this one that a lot of people wouldn't want to play. Anyway, you might have noticed by now, if you've still been looking at the video screen, that I have a suspicious amount of video footage considering none of it is lifted from some other content creator or anything, as you can tell by comparing the design of the main character running around in this footage. This is the one thing that I worked on recently. With news of the game's imminent closure, I knew this was the only time I could record actual gameplay and not just the story scenes. Furthermore, some of the less important scenes were actually absent from the theater mode to begin with, so those scenes are just gone now too. But during the last couple months, honestly probably more in the last week or so than the rest of the previous couple months combined, I recorded what I could of the game. It was difficult to make time for it. I only finished getting everything I most wanted because I deprived myself of a lot of sleep for the last few days of it. But I did it. I got a record of the things I had within the game, and I got footage of the entire story campaign, every single quest, though I didn't worry about like optional objectives, I just kinda sped through some of them, but still did them, every single one, and did get every line of dialogue, even the like random NPCs that stand around in the few odd quests that actually happens in. It's not many of them, but I even used the different equipment setups at various points in the story so that earlier bosses would actually get shown off at least a little bit instead of just getting destroyed instantly. I have a lot else to get to right now, so this is probably just going to be sitting on my hard drive for a long time. I'm still torn on what I even want to do with it. I mean, like, am I really going to do a video series on just this game without doing the others in the series? At this point, I doubt I could ever find the time to cover the whole Kingdom Hearts series, though, so... I also wonder how I should present it. I mean, I could do a movie version of sorts with most of the gameplay removed and really just show, like, the bosses. Maybe just summarize the Disney stuff. But I could do a full playthrough, too. I have the footage for it. I could edit out some of the, like, additional loading screens and the quest results screens and all the constant trips back to the mission select screen. Because if I edited all of those things out, it would be a little more seamless. It might feel just that little bit closer to watching an actual Kingdom Hearts game instead of this, like, mobile game. And I could always just do videos in both styles, too. I don't know. Still, part of me hates the idea of just doing this game and not doing the others first. But it also feels like, if I can't find a time for the whole series, maybe I should at least do this one, since it does kind of have some personal meaning to me at this point. I need to think it over, I guess. While I take some time first to just relax, and then probably a lot of time to hopefully work on other projects that have been waiting a very long time to get done. I'd like to hear whether anyone has a particular interest in the Union Cross videos, though, because I'm not actually sure how much demand there is for that sort of thing. I know there's been content creators for Union Cross the whole time, so I don't know. For now, though, the way things have been, I don't really even want to make a promise that any of my personal projects are going to be coming out this year. It would be nice, But I don't know. I've got the group stuff that I promised to fix first, and a lot going on right now just in general, so right now I just kind of hope things will be okay with my mom more than anything. If that situation improves a whole lot, it would get a lot easier to record after that too, but if not, maybe I can still try to make it work. We'll see how it goes. In the meantime, just however long it takes until I can speak to you again, I hope things will go okay for you too. Take care of yourselves.